Oh my lord. Okay, yeah, the mic's been muted. I was just saying how I need to. Today I'm splitting the stream into an editing stream. The mic's going to become an issue for playing back the audio and listening to it after I record my spiel. That means I need to be done recording this primary piece by 10 minutes. And I'm not sure if I'll email it, I'll separate the streams. This will just be a completely separate stream now. What else is there to say? The audio is cutting out a lot, which is why I've got this mic. I already mentioned that, but the audio was off on the way I'm streaming it. I guess I'm gonna go for sitting today, just so I'm close to the microphone. I'm not certain how this is gonna play out, but I'm excited to start getting into editing. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go over the notes. Some people believe in God. Most people believe in God. Okay, I need to start this with that in mind. I was an atheist for a long time, and I rejected it. I'm not sure how much of YouTube's audience believes in God, but considering most people do, I need to make it palatable. I should probably look up the stats on such things and get a little bit more specific. Quick summary, then explain. Mike and Cam, starting personal. I need to make this personal between you and I. What you know is this and that and whatnot. So make and refine the script. Let's start to do that. God's evolution as a title. Old wisdom, new eyes as a. We need to start looking at this old wisdom with new eyes as a maybe part of my script. Some face, this of course the space version of it. This one's not going to be final at all. I need to fix my camera and get on that. Star signs, FJs for focus and posture. Those are production notes. I need to start separating between editing notes and production notes, which I'll get to. And since we are pushing time already, I should get into it. As our ancestors combated against the complexity of the universe around them, they developed strategies to survive, compete, and thrive in it. As different groups competed, the best strategy, stored as wisdom in the most salient ways, usually as stories, outcompeted the alternatives. In fact, most of the wisdom is stored in stories. Only small bits and pieces are stored in something as a very literal tenet. It comes straight from God, God being, the story element part of that, maybe. Or the complexity of the universe, the force that we don't understand that has a level of cognizant power. We have a faith circuit in the brain. We have lots of subconscious instincts that are more for the group than the self. So we do a lot of things. You do a lot of things for the good of the group rather than yourself. You'll even punish yourself for it. Your unconscious mind. So the value of the group is extremely high to human survival. So there's a level of circuitry involved with that, and the level of complexity with which that communicates to other people, its own processing, and the level with which the complexity of that takes could be even more complex than human cognizant behavior. It could be more intelligent than us, considering the amount of power behind it. It's got more thought and power in it, but it's not as maybe less conscious, more conscious. It's hard to say on those metrics. At the very least, that is a level of God that exists, and it's hard to argue with that, considering we have a faith circuit in our brain that we've studied. And the ancient instincts and circuits around that have gone through natural selection and evolved to lead us to the most individual and group success. Those instincts are in there too, and I'm going to suggest that traditions and ancient wisdom that was stored in tenets and stories is also in there. You outcompeted those around you. Humans who outcompete those around them are the ones who follow the answers discovered by our ancestors, and that at least unconscious part of the mind that knows that and recognizes that and uses that. Maybe there's a conscious free will element, and you're allowed to put yourself in hell, and that unconscious part is what leads you and makes your life worse to punish you for the sake of the group when you do something bad. And that allotment of free will on your part is part of the group benefit, because you have to be able to have the freedom to try new strategies. In safer societies, I would suggest liberalism proliferates, because if you are secure and safe economically and physically, then that's the time to try out more strategies on the periphery of your understanding. But when things are chaotic, that's when you revert to, we know this works, let's do that. You don't want to try something completely completely wild that you don't know if it works, even it's in a high risk scenario. So I would suggest our current freedom is probably part of the reason it is more likely that people reject that ancient wisdom. I'm going to say we need to look at this old wisdom with new eyes in that respect. And we don't want to lose the value of that. Those who followed that outcompeted those who didn't. Even back to tribal peoples, they had told different stories. They had told different. They migrated by the stars. They told stories with those stars. Perhaps some of that was more locationally valuable. If you're in a cold region and that part of your migration path, you might have a specific story that helps provide some wisdom towards that. And we know humans communicate. We don't communicate rationally. We don't communicate with highly technical details. We communicate with stories, which is why when you're trying to learn something, a mnemonic aid, a story to help you remember a specific technical detail or technical process helps you to learn it. It's because that's how we communicate. We've evolved more valuable out of communication than from anything else. Technical analysis has a value, but that's not our primary form of communicating and understanding. So yes, we are technically understanding things. We have game theory, which is discovered in the last, say, let's be broad for to be liberal with it, the last 200 years. But that, yes, it's technically very valuable, especially if you're technically applying it. But I would say that it expressed itself to us in our ancient wisdom through the Golden Rule, which is thousands of years earlier, because it's such a primary and formative piece of reality that will lead you to more success in the world, to maximize, do what's right for you and the other. You want to do the action that makes their life better and your life better. You don't want to do what's good for them at the cost of self, good for the self at the cost of them. So there's a level of trade there going on, and that's, I would say, it goes deep into our instinct, into our wisdom that evolved alongside us. We have that faith circuit. Our wisdom evolved with that faith. As I was mentioning earlier with tribalism, tribal understanding, that they encountered more complex societies in Egypt and ancient civilization. And they had the different cults, and they had sets of strategies, and that's better than nothing. I'll give them that. You know, if you reject all theism and even science, right? At least with science, you have a little bit of concrete, but it's based on nothing. There's been very, very little time testing. It's not time tested and true. At the very least, is valuable and for wisdom. So these ancient deities competed, and the tenets and wisdom that led to most individual and group success outcompeted all others. I'm going to need to stop soon, so that's going to be there. And I'll see you in the editing stream in, say, 5 minutes. Yeah, that's been good. Oh, I didn't clap before and after I did my spiel, but that'll have to do.